becoming who you're supposed to be, controlling your narrative is a mental health thing. And I think that's where we're falling into. And everybody's come through the process. It almost seems like therapy. So, and it only happened because I did it to myself.
All right, man. Free the narrative too. It's out. It's out right now. And it's so good to see you again.
It's always great to see you. Last time we talked, I was in a hole. I lived in this house, but I called it my little like lair. And I was on an iPad. There was no technology. I had the Psycho Boy shirt on. I kind of looked like I've been through hell. And that's because I just got out of the hospital. And then we started talking. So I was like fish white, still jacked, but like puffy from all the anesthesia and the fluids they were pumping in me. But I'm feeling great now, looking even better. Happy to be here with you, my handsome cohort in the YouTube / entertainment world. Funny story is I play podcasts when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
You're one of my, of course.
Wow. My podcast puts you to sleep. I'm honored.
No. It wakes me up because I hear you, and I always it's like a fever dream. I hear your illustrious voice and I'm coming to at 3 a.m. with like half hard pee, gotta go to, but then there's your voice like at least 3 days a week.
Wow. Well, thank you. Geez. And this is for everybody else out there. If EC3 listens to every episode, then you should also listen to every episode.
I feel subconsciously I get so much more of it while I slumber too. That's when your brain's really adapting to it.
Oh, I like where we're going with this. I like this. When I talked to you last time, you were in the middle of COVID. Basically, you had just basically admitted to everybody, yeah, I have COVID, but this was before you were in the hospital.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had COVID at the time.
Yeah.
And now I have the antibodies because I had COVID.
Yeah. So, well, let's walk through what happened after that. You went to the hospital not long after that.
I did go to the hospital un-COVID related. I guess it was maybe a couple months, but I had a infection on my arm, cellulitis, I would say it was. So it ballooned up, and then I just thought I'll rub some dirt on it, and I let it lie there, and then just keep getting bigger and bigger until one day I had a elephantitis. Like my arm was completely swollen. I'm like, maybe I should go to the hospital for this.
Well, let's be honest. Your arms are already swollen, right? They're all the time.
But they didn't bend. I was like, man, if I could swell up elsewhere, like I'm swelling up here, I'd be irresistible. But alas, it's a dick joke. But alas, it's my arm, and they might have to amputate it. So I don't know if we could see, but they drained it out. And I spent a week in the hospital. I put out a message like, if you really care about me, I appreciate your support. I honestly love it. Thank you so much. But leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because I was like going through a lot. I was super stressed. So it was the first time I got to sleep in a while. That was nice about the hospital. And I didn't look at my device. Like the blue light, it purified me. And here we are.
Are you serious that you might have actually had your arm amputated?
I'm not serious, but I'm not sure it wasn't that close. Like I looked at it, I'm like, holy shit, if I lose my arm, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to work out. And that's the only release I have.
Well, that's not true. You would find a way. And there's plenty of jacked people with one arm.
True. I would find a way, but I'd always feel insignificant. Like I'm very anally symmetrical. Everything has to be like by sets. Like if I do an odd number of reps, I like have a panic attack, or if, odd number of sets, or if I'm doing legs and I did, I think that was 65% quads and 35% hamstrings. I need to do it's got to be even, like symmetry, man, balance, yin and yang, polarities, much like Free the Narrative 1. When I was fighting Matt Cardona, we were very different, but very similar polarities. Everything, universe, energy. Pretend I know what I'm talking about, and you will understand.
I know. If we smile and nod, we completely understand what you're talking about here.
If I sound confident in my words, even though I'm completely making it up as I go along, people will be like, this guy's maybe pretty smart, even though he's saying gibberish.
Well, look, if anybody's seen Control the Narrative or Control the Narrative 2, they will see that you are very smart. And what you've created here is, I don't know, it transcends wrestling. It has wrestling in it, but it transcends wrestling.
Before we started, you said something that was pretty significant, and I loved it. And that's why I was like, we can't talk anymore. We got to just say it. And what you said was, you created something that will last forever.
Yeah.
And I think that was the purpose of Control Your Narrative when I started it, coming out of WWE and the pandemic, recreating myself as a character, but also as a man. One of the main things I wanted to drive home was people control your narrative, tell your story, but create something that will last, create something that will last forever was the idea. And free the narrative as a feature. I know like I'm tough at branding. Control your narrative as the movement. Free the narrative is the feature. And we did 2 features now. The first one featuring myself versus Matt Cardona, available on our YouTube now at youtube.com/control your narrative. And also Braun Strowman, AKA Adam Shearer, AKA the Titan, his very first non-WWE match was actually a fight with me in a dimly lit, disgusting, filthy bar. And we put it out to the world and told a great story, I think. Very proud of it. So I'm very proud of Adam for it.
That match is available right now on your YouTube channel, which I'll link below. And then the full Free Your Narrative 2 will be available on Friday. So that's tomorrow as you're listening to this right now, but it could be out right now if you're listening to this sometime in the future.
You inspired us because we're trying to figure out how to distribute this content because we created something so different and there's so much wrestling available. Everything is available, like we talked about, 20, 30 hours a week of wrestling content, but we created something unique, getting it to people. What's the best way? And we're seeking streaming platforms and taking this beyond wrestling. I want to get out of the wrestling bubble, but at the same time, we are based in wrestling, though I try to be far more reality based. Like, what's the best forum? And I'm like, well, brother's got like, you got the 1 million subscribers in or 300,000. I don't know. What's that number you're 300 away from?
Yeah, that 300,000 subscribers.
I am leeching off them because now we have committed to YouTube as a platform to distribute content where we just let it idly sit there. So follow, like, subscribe, Control Your Narrative on YouTube. Link below.
There it is. Anybody who's watching this right now that hasn't subscribed to EC3, go and do it right now. I wish we could take all 300,000 and bring them over to you.
Come on over. The water's warm. And over here, you take back control, you fight for freedom, and you find your purpose. But also, we do have the CYN Weekly podcast. So if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, you can sing over to Control Your Narrative Weekly, like and subscribe to that, and I can put you to sleep, much like you put me to sleep.
I interviewed Sylvester Stallone like 2 years ago.
My dad. I have a story to tell after this.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this story. But he said something during this interview that I'll never forget. He said that when you do something in a film, you need to be aware when you're filming it that it lasts forever. You need to be aware that when you're filming this, people will go back and watch this a year from now, 5 years from now, 10, 20, 30, it'll live on forever. And it's interesting that in the world of wrestling, a lot of matches, especially in weekly television, kind of come and go. And that's no disrespect to those matches, but there's so much out there that a lot of matches come and go. And that's why I said to you, what you're creating here is a film. Yeah. And it's something that people can go back and watch a year or 2 or 10 from now and appreciate the art form that is.
Well, thank you very much. What I love about that is I know in this realm, in this wrestling fan, cinematic wrestling should have a bad stigmata to it because what was done with it was kind of like it jumped the shark totally. So it feels weird saying, hey, we're cinematic wrestling, because when you think of that, you think of, I don't know, like special powers and people morphing into different things. And it's kind of hokey comedy. It's kind of bullshit. And it's like kind of exposes the business. But what we wanted to do was shoot wrestling cinematically. So it's very imperative for me to keep the wrestling as reality based. And the people that come into the narrative are themselves, their real life personas turned up a little bit, but finding their purpose. I mean, that's what happened with Adam. He truly had an emotional release fighting in the narrative. And we captured it on film because he was going through a bunch of stuff in his life that all came to a head. And you could see it in the initial part when he was in the ring with me. He told you exactly what he went through. And it was a powerful moment. So thing about Stallone, he's a genius, but you don't think so because, you know, he's got his drawl and he made man movies and stuff like that. But like you listen to interviews with him, you've interviewed him. He wrote Rocky.
Yeah.
He put everything on the line. He sold his dog to get Rocky made.
I love that story.
Amazing.
Also, there was this, I can't remember what the exact number was, but we're talking the early 70s or mid 70s. And there was an offer to buy Rocky, but the caveat was that someone else was going to star in it. And he said, no. And he said, I'm making this movie and I'm going to be the one who stars it. And they said, all right, well, like, good luck. Yeah. And eventually he did end up finding someone who would buy the script and have him in it. Then it goes on, the rest is history. It wins Best Picture and everything else. But it's so crazy the amount of just blind faith that he has in himself.
How necessary is that to truly, as I say in the narrative, become who you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
You got to take the shot, because man, if you don't, you're going to wake up one day, you're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to be thinking about the what ifs and not the what I did. You know, I don't want that.
No,
we all have regrets.
Yeah. A study out of Cornell University surveyed people that were in their final days. And they said, what was the biggest regret of your life? And 76% of people said not living their ideal self. So 3/4 of people on their deathbed said that their biggest regret was the things they didn't do rather than the things that they did do and they regretted.
I'm going to try to find this text message I sent a babe today about, I hope I don't hold you too long. Get over here.
I'm so excited to see what this is.
Well, this is just something that I thought of, and I know she was in a slump, and then I sent it over to her.
Okay.
Blah. If this is taking too long, we could fill the time. Oh,
no, everyone's just looking at your handsome face right now. This is great.
Looking down. All right. Sunset. Funny gifts. Conspiracy theory. Where is it? Here was a funny one. Some dude talked shit to me on Twitter, and I screen capped his like bio and his picture, and I'm like, I know everything about this guy just by looking at this picture. His life sucks. Oh my god.
And who did you send this to?
A babe. I don't want to reveal.
Oh, a babe.
Yeah. But anyways, real fast. Okay, so I'm at a Clearwater Beach, and we're out with friends, and this vacationer comes up to me and goes, "Oh my god, are you Sylvester Stallone's son?"
Wow.
And because I had the curly hair at the time too, and I said, "Yeah, I'm Jim Stallone." And I shook her hand. And so she takes a picture with me and she's like, "Oh my God, that's Sylvester Stallone's son." She's talking. Blah, blah, blah. She's about to leave. She comes up to me and she goes, "Can I get an autograph?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I signed her an autograph and said, "Don't be alone. Keep it Stallone. Sincerely, Jim Stallone." See. Okay, here it is.
Okay, we found it.
All right. Close your eyes. Visualize. You're on your last days. Your time is up. Everything you've wanted to do or left unfinished, you can't. There's a regret and sadness. You feel unaccomplished. Now open your eyes. Well, if you're reading this, they are open. Your whole life is ahead of you. Go do it. Chills.
That's so good. I heard something recently on a podcast that was like, picture yourself at the end of your life. You're in front of God, your creator, the universe, whatever you believe in, right? And they say, "What do you think of your life?" And you go, "Yeah, it was pretty good. I was a good parent. I was a good son, daughter, whatever. You know, I improved other people's lives." And then they take out like an iPad or something and they go, "Cool. Well, I'm going to show you what your life could have been if you really went for it." And then they hit play and you go, "Oh crap."
Oh, wow.
And that one like hit me so hard.
I feel like that was an awakening I had when this whole control your narrative thing started, because it was very personal to me. But I was going through a lot at the time, and it was with WWE, and I had concussion issues, and I'm unhappy and placed on the card, and there's no opportunity. Now there's no way out. Now there's a pandemic starting and the world's changing. I don't know what's going on. And I get released. I'm doing yoga and I get released. And I had nothing but the feeling of like openness. Like I was like the greatest weight ever lifted off me, that I can do this, or I can be who I want to be now. because of it. And like the first time I got fired, it was like, I will show you motherfuckers. I will come back to you with fire and vengeance and brimstone. I will bring pain and hell upon you. I will get so fucking popular. You will beg me to come back. And I did. And it happened. And it fucking worked out like shit, but whatever. But yeah. And then what you've just said kind of reminds me of like the talk I had to have with myself. Like if a year and a half ago was up there, how was your life? Well, I did some pretty cool stuff. I had a bad haircut once, but I got to live my dream. I made great friends. I tried to take care of my family, yada, yada. Here's what your life could have been. And they play that iPad.
Yeah.
Like now that's the life I'm trying to live as much as possible. Well, I don't enough. Like we all have times where, I don't know, like we can do more. You can always do more. Right? Yeah. But
always.
I try to do that now. And what I love about you, as far as a human being and an interviewer, is the positivity and the messages you spread when you talk to people, from all walks of life and different, entertainment, really get deep into their brains. So what I think too, with wrestling, like wrestling stays in a little bubble of the fans and the talent sometimes, but you bring something different with different people all the time. And there's life outside of it. And, not to put myself over, but Free the Narrative is like, what else is out there with wrestling tied in? But like you being able to speak to other people and bring them into, I think, an audience that's sheltered itself through this one thing is awesome.
Well, thank you for saying that. I just think that there's a lot of times when wrestlers aren't thinking beyond the present moment. And I think it's so important to be present, but you can only wrestle into your 40s, maybe 50s. And I'm not saying you can't wrestle in your 60s. Sure, it's possible, but you probably can't wrestle with the same intensity that you did in your 20s and 30s. And I think a lot of people don't think about what's beyond that. And it's a big identity crisis for them when they have to face that reality.
Very true. Yes. I don't know how to add to that. You're absolutely right. Thinking outside of it, I guess too, even while you're inside of it, what I'm trying to do now though, is take from the outside world and apply it into social media and wrestling and things of that nature. And I think when you're locked in a bubble as a talent and as a fan, you're only thinking inside this bubble. Like we're programmed. A big thing I want to do is break the programming and just have people think differently. They don't have to like it. They don't have to hate it, but they just, by opening their eyes to different things, maybe they find new passions, new loves, where the wrestling love is still there. But outside of that, I found this great book and now I'm reading, a book every month, or I found this great musical score because this song inspired me to listen to a different genre.
Yeah.
And I don't know, having the ability to converse with humans again. And then maybe they go on dates and it's cool too. And they meet a nice girl and they get married. And they have kids. Something like that. What are we talking about?
But maybe through this process for you with Control Your Narrative or Free the Narrative, maybe I feel like you found this love for filmmaking because you're great on camera. And what you've built here isn't just some like hokey film. This is like a very well done film.
I have a lot of great support, especially the narrator of it, JC. He's my partner in all of this, and like very creative, very vision oriented. Where how can we make this work within the reality we're trying to create? So we spent a long time discussing this as a thing, producing as a thing. You saw the improvements from 1 to 2. This is very much a bare bones operation as far as there's no corporate backing, there's no funding. This comes out of our pockets. Hopefully it makes money, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is creating something that will last. So it's very hands-on for us, and it's like it's our purpose in a way. When he was editing the second one, and he had to teach himself how to edit on the fly too, because we've never done any of this. We have one under our belt, but when he's editing it, he's putting it together and we're spending hours and we're losing our minds, or we're writing the narration to tell the stories of these talent that were so cool to give us their time, their trust and their effort. But he's like, this is my life's work. I was like, ooh, it better be fucking good.
Do you have any aspirations to make a short film, or like has that stirred that up in you?
I guess in a sense, we have no formal training in that aspect. So it's just,
most filmmakers don't.
Right. And it doesn't seem hard. All right. 3 acts, cool dialogue, interesting people and stories to tell. Maybe not because I'm that itch, if I had it's being scratched as we expand and what we do, but perhaps I would also wouldn't mind being in them so I can learn the process on how other people direct and produce and things of that nature. But what's the word? It starts with an S. Syncrates? Syncrates? It's like coincidence. How do I pronounce it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Uh, I think I know it.
Have the world's information. Like,
Yeah, it's all, it lives in our pocket.
I read
Serendipity?
that is close, but not what I'm thinking.
Synchronicities.
Synchronicity. Yes. The simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related, but have no discernible causal connection. But what I noticed about putting this project together and the whole control your narrative to free the narrative is the amount of people in my life that have departed and have showed up. And it seems coincidental, but it can't be. It has to be for a reason and for a better purpose. Like this editor we use, Eric Null, we call him the executioner. He wears a patch on his eye. We call him Patch too. I don't know which nickname's better, executioner or Patch. It's up for him to decide, but he's a 21-year-old kid. I met him at a barbershop. He was shooting my barber and asked me to do an interview. He was a secret wrestling fan. I did the interview with him and I'm like, you're pretty good with the camera, kid. What are you doing Wednesday? Oh, nothing. All right, can you meet me at this location? I need you to film something. And it's when I had Matt Cardona and myself at a diner. So we threw him right into the fire because we needed somebody. He was vouched for by my barber, who's like super great spiritual dude. He's vouched for. The kid has such an interesting story of overcoming childhood cancer and things of that nature. But then we put him in that position, we throw him in the fire, and now he's working for us and helped us greatly on these things. So all these people that have come into life, from Adam, the day before Adam was released from WWE, he was in the shop with narrator and I talking about, I haven't watched wrestling in its completion, but when I watched Free the Narrative 1, that was the first time I couldn't stop thinking. I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking about what could be done with wrestling and how it can evolve and be something else and stuff of that nature. And we started talking, yeah, man, if we ever had you in the narrative, we do this, this, and this. And we're like, we can't even talk about that now because, what's the point? Yeah. The next day he's released. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I guess it's on. And we're like, oh shit, we got to do that again. So we're just coming off the first one. And it was a stressful hospital inducing thing, but he needed it. Men need a place, I don't know, to be able to be emotional, to let go of things. And he had a lot of personal demons and personal problems that he had to let go. And in his process coming into filming this, what you see in Free the Narrative 2 is a legitimate expelling of his bad spirits and accepting his new purpose in life. Like it was fucking wild, dude. It was transcendent. We filmed it too. I don't know if you're familiar with the Lion's Gate in astrology. I wasn't.
No.
Someone told me that day, and I'm like, holy shit, that's the day we filmed the narrative. But like, it's just him opening up, and it was like male therapy, and now like mental health is something that's very important to him because he was going through it, as we all do. And now it's becoming important to me. And this is kind of where the movement, I think, is going. It's going to be cool ass, badass dudes and women, because we have Marina Schaffner now, but like, it's going to be aesthetically cool. It's going to be David Fincher had a wrestling baby with Trent Reznor. So it's going to be music. The music's produced in house. The visuals are cool, but it's going to be, the Fight Club-esque, but like becoming who you're supposed to be, controlling your narrative is a mental health thing. And I think that's where we're falling into. And everybody's come through the process. It almost seems like therapy. So, and it only happened because I did it to myself. So now is my great purpose helping others by filming them fight and look cool as shit and cool music behind it. I don't know, When
you look back at the last year plus since being released from WWE, what are you most proud of during this time?
I am most proud of this feature, Free the Narrative 2, there's very few moments I could think of in life where I can accept this was significant and felt great, and I can breathe and like feel it. Because usually it's like, okay, I did cool, great. What's next? I mean,
Yeah.
this wired like a psycho boy. But I remember we put this together on short notice. All the people that came and helped out and came under the roof and like donated their time, you know, money in a sense at times, whatever, just their effort and their vision. Most importantly, their trust in me. We film it. I do the thing with Adam. We have this transcendent experience where the man's literally became a new human being. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Life is insane. How is this happening? Other people are breaking down all over the place. It's like a exorcism of just the past releasing out of this dingy shithole in Orlando with a crappy wrestling ring in it. And we're after a couple people were having some drinks, you know, make sure everyone's taken care of. And I'm like, I just take a look at it. Everything that's created, all these people interacting that maybe never would have met themselves or each other, having in-depth conversations, new people meeting new people, and just like happiness and enlightenment, whatever. And I take a look at the room and I'm like, huh. And I just walk out the door and I walk back to the hotel I'm staying at. And I'm like, that was the most proud of anything I've ever done. Short of maybe beating Kurt Angle for a world title, which was pretty sweet. But that was, I left like, I haven't had a moment since that moment, which I covered in a promo once. I think it was for Impact. But yeah, I didn't have a moment like that one in 2015, like I did that moment. I just
how does this want to make you approach matches now? Like when we're talking about actual wrestling now,
storytelling. I think you can find a story in anything within wrestling, and I think we're getting away from circumstantial storytelling in lieu of cool moves. So even if you only have a 4-minute or a 5-minute, there's stories to be told, as opposed to going to hit a bunch of moves in record time that people forget about immediately. It's not always easy to find the story or delve into it. And what sucks, which inspired this whole movement, Control Your Narrative, Free the Narrative, is through corporate wrestling. We call them the 3-letter brands. In theory, I just realized I'm EC3 and I'm my own 3-letter brand. But
I know it's only 2 letters and 1 number.
3 character brand. Total hypocrite. I'm full of shit. But no matter how much creative freedom you may have in a company, at the end of the day, it's still not yours. And that's okay, because that's the business. And you're paid to do your job and perform for you people in charge. That's fine. But creating this gives talent as much creative freedom as they want to tell their story. So as far as approaching matches, I think telling stories has become significant in lieu of cool moves and stars and things of that nature. And I could tell the difference when I'm inspired by the story if I'm not working within the narrative, but like Ring of Honor, like if I'm not invested in the story, everything hurts. Every bump hurts and this doesn't feel right. And why are we even doing this? Because this has to happen. This has to happen. But then when I'm able to, all right, what's the story here? And I think there's this match I had with Jay Lethal on Ring of Honor TV that I was really able to delve into a story based on, well, this is happening with him and this is kind of happening with me. What could we do together beyond like your cool shit? And he's totally on board. And then collabing with a guy of that talent and telling a story, pushing his story along while pushing mine at the same time, and it working well, even if we're wrestling in front of no people. It translates on television. So I think that is one thing I look for in wrestling matches now when I'm putting together, and not getting hit in the head anymore. That sucks.
Do you have any intention of signing somewhere full-time?
I am full-time with Ring of Honor. They just allow me to create on the side.
Which is incredible. Like you can basically pop up in other places.
In theory, perhaps, I really like that flex. I like bending the ideas of what we think this is too. And a lot of feedback you get from fans is based on the things they've already seen when I'm trying to do something new. So it's like, oh yeah, all the narrative guys could be a faction. I'm like, yeah, but a faction's been done. Someone's like, hey, it's kind of like when Raven's Flock invaded WCW. I'm like, yeah, except for the fact they're all under contract to WCW. And, you know, I have people in every different realm of this world. I love the idea of the controlling your narrative spreading, because Marina Schaffner said this after we shot her interview that's on her podcast channel, and we shot her awesome vignette. Kudos to the narrator for creating that piece of art based on her vision. She's like, this idea, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you. Like, this could be the next thing. And I'm like, well, I sure hope so, because it isn't about me anymore. I can take a back seat now and allow people to create and be very happy with having an alternative platform for creative people to be creative. Throw shit against the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
And I think that's something talent is restricted to when they have to do their job, which you have to do the job because that's the job, and that's okay. But I don't know, art imitating life appeals to me greatly.
Did the idea of seeing these cinematic matches during the, I'll call it the COVID era, did that inspire you to do this, or did you already have the idea for it?
No, because I was already, after the dream team of the Broken Matt Hardy and Jimmy and Jeremy Borash at Impact went so far out creating something unique, and it was funny, you know, it's comedic, and there's a lake of reincarnation and there's a chair on wheels. Like, it's awesome. It's hilarious. And
mower of lawns.
Mower of lawns. It's brilliant. And then I think when AEW did the Stampede show, where it was very fun and everything's fun, I'm like, it wasn't to create cinematic matches. What inspired me was the fight from Creed, the one-shot camera angle where they follow him
that entire round.
Yeah, the entire round. And also shooting wrestling differently, seeing a ring inside the camera, capturing the intensity and emotions of what we do. Sometimes with hard cam, you know, like, things are lost in translation, or all the quick cuts TV wrestling likes to do. Like, just being in the moment and bringing intimate viewing to the fans. But at the same time, I was coming off of getting fired. I had 90 days. I was creating this new character with no platform but my own socials. I needed something to finish it. And I'm like, no matter what company I go to, I'm immediately giving what I've created to them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it'll be fully recognized what I want to be. I at least want my debut match where I establish my new self to be how I envision it. And that's what inspired the shoot. Because we had a clock on my website, and everybody's like, what's going to happen to this clock if there's nowhere to sign? I'm like, oh, it's like, shoot a match. I'm like, all right. Is that going to take us on a wild journey I never expected? It did.
Yeah.
But so shooting that match, it's on our YouTube. So I don't know.
Don't worry, everybody subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah. But I mean, it was July of 2020.
Yeah.
And I was in Impact the next day, but I just wanted, because I know how important a debut is to establishing somebody, and being a TV personality already, if I went to another company, I'm immediately thrown in. Maybe my first match is a competitive match against somebody that's a high name, so I can't establish what I'm going to do. So when I do that to the guy who's already established, he can kick out and it doesn't look like my shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
So simplicity was always big to me. And that's another thing about wrestling matches today is when we talked about stories important, simplicity and establishing things so they mean more, maybe not in that moment, but a month down the road or 6 months down the road or a year down the road. So
I want to key in on something you said there. You said that you make it look different, and for better or for worse, television wrestling has pretty much looked the same for, I don't know, 50, 60 years. And it's interesting that when TNA put a 6-sided ring there, if you were flicking channels, you went, oh, well, that's different. And then Lucha Underground did something different too. When you were flicking channels, you went, oh, this is so different. And that's exactly what you're doing here.
Correct. Yeah. And I didn't have that vision short of the one shot thing. So as we expanded, that was JC, the narrator's idea. Like, we got to make it look differently. But at the same time, we had one professional cinematographer. We had him learning how to use a camera. The first narrative shot, we had who was the other cameraman in the first narrative? Oh, Huntley. Yeah. Okay. We had the guy, synchronicities. A kid I met outside of Publix who's like an EC3 fan. He met me outside of Publix. He's like, "Hey man, I'm a cameraman. This is a different story." Oh, okay, cool. Gives me his card. One day I'm like, shit, I need a cameraman. Hit him up. He comes and films me doing something stupid. Next thing you know, he's working with us on the narrative. Next thing you know, he's hired by NXT. So isn't that cool? And I'm really happy for him. I call him my son, even though he's 34, but he's my son. But so he's on the floor, and then we had a dude I think was drunk working the hard cam, so he missed every shot. So, but just having that different look. And then as we went into the second one, how can we make this look even more different? And again, we had one professional cinematographer. We have JC, who's using the camera for the 5th time in his life. We have one super smart mark friend we had from back home, sweating bullets, missing shots. Ed, thanks. And then the kid on a hard cam upstairs. So we wanted the look to be different because we missed a lot in the first one. We still missed a lot in the second one. So what's going to make it different for the third? What's going to make sure we don't miss things and make it different for the third? So yes, different's good.
Yeah.
You flip through channels after that long-winded like a rat race I put you on. Yes, I agree, Chris.
You talk about this journey that Adam went on with this, and I'm not trying to like dig for any sort of scoop here or ask you like, oh, where's he going to sign? But what do you think is next for him after he's had this therapeutic moment, as you explained?
I think you think about a guy like that. He was signed and put in the system. So he's known nothing but the system of wrestling that he's been accustomed to until one day he shows up in a dimly lit shithole bar in downtown Orlando with a bunch of neglected and refused, pro wrestling scum. Not scum, because the scum comes in all forms. I have a great
You're in the 1%. Come on.
No, the 1% died, man. I threw it in a trash can fire. But Adam seeing the difference in, okay, there's no catering, there's not a locker room. Like, he knows that going into it. But him experiencing something different, I think is going to open his eyes to what else is out there. How else does this work?
Yeah.
And what's fortunate for him, like, he had a great run. He has great name value, and he's still a great talent. So he really could have picked anywhere to go and came out and got a huge reaction and trended. And then in a month, he comes out, kicks everybody's ass. And then in a month, it's just like, all right, we got this guy. And like, what's next? How fans could get sometimes. Like, once a novelty wears off, what's going to keep him? But his ability to be able to recreate what he wants to be within the narrative, which is another purpose for him. Like it was for me filming my match. Like, this is who I want to be now. If I go to a company right away, I'm still get these hands, monster among men. If I completely destroy who I am and recreate myself in another vision, this is what I can take to you now. And, as a creator and a professional, it's just nice to, I don't know, you play the same song for so long.
Yeah.
Finally, you put the new shit out and people actually like it too. They give it a chance, because sometimes, they don't like the new stuff. So that, and I know outside interests he has a great deal in, whether it's pursuing some acting, fitness industry, supplementation things. And then I think what's really big and near and dear to him is his mental health purpose and what he's going to do on that front. So he's got a lot of cool things coming down the pipe in the outside the wrestling bubble, which I think mental health is the biggest thing, because that's what he personally experienced. And as far as wrestling, who's to say?
Right.
There's the dirt.
But I think when people like Adam and you speak so openly about mental health, I think it makes a lot of people who are struggling themselves go, oh my gosh, if those guys are going through it,
right,
it makes it feel okay. If they can talk about it, I can talk about it.
Yeah. And I think the Tag Me In movement, which I had a couple videos with them, and is doing a great job. And it's obviously it's a plague on society. It's not just our industry. So everybody goes through, and it's okay to talk about it. And I don't know, being able to discuss things and having someone to listen is really all we truly need for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With that said, I mean, you mentioned at the start of the podcast that my podcast puts you to sleep, but are you able to sleep better these days?
I have a tough time because I'm so excited to tackle the day. I slept so bad yesterday because I did legs yesterday. And I'm on my feet all day, controlling narratives. We're running Justified Prints, our nefarious side operation for.
That's where we are right now.
Yes, I got the print shop going behind me. If you need t-shirts made, hit up justifiedprints.com or at justified_prints on Instagram, and we'll make your shirts real nice. But yeah, I did legs yesterday. There was a weird thing with the moons in alignment. Like it was coming off the full moon. I don't know. Some astrology babe, a different one, sent me a thing about that. She's cool too. But like I had this leg workout and it didn't feel great, but I did a lot of volume. And then through the day, I just feel weird. I had 6 rolls of sushi and 4 cookies last night because it was a refeed day. Just slept like shit.
Those cookies looked incredible, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Instagram. I tagged him once and it went away.
I tried to click on it and I couldn't actually see it.
It's like I disabled his account.
Are those quote unquote healthy?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay. Full of sugar.
Yeah, but I met him at the Olympia, and like, there's another synchronicity. Synchronicity. He was a 500-pound guy, and now he's like 180, and he's trying to bodybuild. Like he was telling me his amazing story, and I'm like, and you make cookies, and they're not healthy. I'm in, but I just meeting all these people with all these incredible stories because of just control your narrative being said out loud, verbalized between my friend and I has made all this happen. It's fucking wild to think about.
Well, I think what surprised a lot of people is when you first started Control Your Narrative, I think people thought that this was your new gimmick and this was a new storyline. This has become like a lifestyle for you, really.
Yeah. Because it was in an idea gimmick and a character arch, but what helped me so much with my issues was telling my story by myself through promos, through wrestling. So every promo I released on social media, and some get 50,000 views, some get 3,000. Like it's not about who's watching as much as I was able to express myself and therapeutically come to terms with everything and do it in cool ways that are well written. Like I didn't get to speak in WWE for whatever reason.
Quite literally. Yeah.
Quite literally. So the whole initial thing is like, I'm going to write and create better promos than you're going to see on Monday till I'm, do something with them. So it's just the writing process helped me. Talking about myself helped me, but creating and making it art. And I'm pushing a character, but at the same time, I'm pushing myself. The best wrestling characters are always extensions of someone's real life personality too. So while top 1% EC3 was definitely my brash, cocky, I have 17 astrology babes on the side kind of dude.
You're 17. Laughing. Wow.
Give or take. At the same time, there's a Sigma reclusive, like driven, silent killer, but also like redemption seeker, anti-hero in a sense. Maybe someone described that. Maybe it's not. But there's another side of me that also likes to write crazy, long-winded things that maybe nobody reads and then recite them eloquently, hopefully. So, but yeah, another thing about the narrative, you get to become who you're supposed to be. So when I bring somebody in or they knock on my door, we vet them, we sit them down here and they tell us about themselves. And it's not like, what do you think your character is? It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Maybe I can help you get there. And whether it's successful as a wrestling company or a streaming television show or whatever it is, the fact people I respect in this industry have come to us to express themselves in a different way. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah. What are you reading these days?
I am just started reading The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know who the author is, but there was 2 great captions of the chapters today. I might just
I saw that. I'm going to see who writes this book so everybody can look this up.
20 years old. It seems like it's some sort of like, I don't know, I'll probably get canceled because it was 20 years ago and there's probably some inappropriate content.
It is by David Dida.
Yeah. Never change your mind just to please a woman. But then I put and a man because I think that is for anybody. Don't change your mind just to please somebody else.
Right.
The second one was a message to somebody. Your purpose must come before your relationship.
It just looked off camera.
I'm just kidding. It was a joke. But yeah. And then what did I just finish? Oh, Jordan Peterson's book. I just finished that. So I jumped into The Superior Man. And then before that, I read The 5 Swords. And then whether we believe in faith or whatever, sometimes I pick up the Bible now and I look through it. And I'm just like, there's some good stuff in here, especially Revelations. I really base a lot of want to destroy the entire wrestling industry, have it crumble at my feet based on Revelations material. So
I know you're so inspired by other films, and we talked a lot last time about American Psycho, and you showed me the print in your bedroom.
Yeah.
What do you think's like the go-to monologue or character that just delivers a great monologue?
In our little shit, Free the Narrative, scenes that inspired me kind of parlay into the conversations I have, like whoever's featured. It goes myself and Matt, and then myself and Adam. That was like Matt and I. We kind of was like we both liked Heat, and I remember De Niro and Pacino getting together. I guess they wrote the movie and they had no scenes together. And, like,
and the crazy thing about that scene is they're never on camera together at the same time.
Right. Wow.
It's just solo shots of them.
There's not a one wide shot.
No.
Holy shit.
And people thought that they weren't actually in the scene together. And my friend actually asked them, he said, I want to clear this up. Were you guys ever in the scene together? Yeah, of course we were. They just wanted to keep the intensity of the scene. So they kept it on close-ups the whole time.
Was it very ad-libbed or was it very scripted?
That I do not know.
I don't either. I just feel like those two are probably like putting their fucking.
Those guys could read the phone book and it would be incredible.
Oh, especially in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Then the one with Adam was sort of like confessional base, but we couldn't get into a church, so it wound up being a dive bar. Big Daddy's in Orlando, shout out. But that scene was inspired by me, if it went off how I wanted, like Road to Perdition.
Oh wow, yeah.
It was
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Hanks is behind Paul Newman, and then like he kind of gives him the look. But I would have said everything to Adam that I said to him at the bar, but instead it became a bar. It's still cool. One I want to do, and this might be the go-to performance, is Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood.
Oh my gosh.
He's confessing when the preacher makes him confess. I will not backslide. Like, I will not do a backslide unless it's a finish, but no.
Man, how good is Daniel Day-Lewis?
He's incredible.
The best ever.
No, like, sure, I'll make a movie this in 7 years. What else is he doing?
What else is he? He's just living life.
Yeah, it's amazing. He doesn't have to. What's his best performance though? I mean, My Left Foot. Holy shit.
What is his best performance?
Lincoln, dude. If you don't want to fight for Abraham Lincoln, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, when he's giving those soldiers that like just little story, or he's around the whatever machine and they're getting the results of the battle, and he just sits down and starts telling the story, and his Secretary of Defense is like, "Oh God, not one of these again." And then, man, it's good. And then obviously Gangs of New York.
Obviously.
The most alpha, awesome dude ever created. So yeah. I just Daniel Day-Lewis's body of work is what I want to recreate in a shitty wrestling format.
Directed by David Fincher.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did you ever pitch any of this cinematic stuff or these ideas when you were in WWE?
I pitched the whole character that this started as. And I pitched the whole character this started as verbally written. And then I filmed the promo I released the day I was fired on the day I was fired because I filmed that promo and sent it to him on the day I was fired. So that was just like, well, I just cut this great promo and this is what I want to be. And I shaved my head. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
So it was only overshadowed by stupid Drake Maverick and his crocodile tears. So because I'm like this. I didn't want, no matter what happened, I didn't want people to think I didn't try. And there was a time I didn't care and I wasn't trying. And I'm like, that's not me, man.
Yeah.
Remember who the fuck you are. And like, I'd rather go down swinging than just be shot, you know?
Yeah.
Rather die on your feet than live on your knees, whatever. So yes, that was pitched. It was pitched along with sort of an underground Fight Club essence to it. And then I released 90 days later my debut match that took place in a dimly lit underground looking garage. It looks like they're just starting a Fight Club in here. Obviously it's super Fight Club inspired. And then a week later, Raw Underground started. So I guess they found my pitch in the trash.
Is there a day you can go back to in WWE where you feel like they specifically dropped the ball?
With me or in general?
With me? With you.
I mean, did they drop the ball or did I just not grab the ball and take it?
Maybe a combination of both. And we talked about this last time. It's crazy that you come in as the heavyweight champion from another company, former heavyweight champion, and they can't find something on that level for you.
Yeah. And NXT was fun and well, but I was already established. So nobody there is making me their pet project to get me over because I walk out, I had a good reaction, I had name value.
Yeah.
I wasn't meant to be there forever. And that's cool. And I have a great time there. We're with great people. I learned, reestablished my love of simplicity and storytelling and wrestling with Terry Taylor. So I'm very happy I was there. Even though I didn't even have to show up, I could just showed up to TVs, but I wanted to be a part of it. But specifically dropping the ball with me, I think just the first segment where I come out and didn't speak.
Yeah.
Just let Ambrose, get it, jab me a little bit and it's fun and whatever. And if shouldn't be a babyface first off. And he was obviously had such a great run there. And then he decided to leave the company and that whole thing. So now they're of course cheering for him and I'm in that situation. But I think just the debut had no purpose or point. And I think they called a bunch of people up in a rash decision that could probably live or die on their own. That didn't need a bunch. We can plug them in and they'll be okay. Doesn't matter. So there's no point to any of it. So I guess that'd be to drop the ball. On my end, dropping the ball was not doing anything to make them give it to me. I tried a few things. One thing I promised myself when I got there is I will never just be everybody that's miserable and be like, it doesn't matter. And I became it. Definitely became it. That's on me. It's okay. Like everyone else was, but I promised myself I would not let that happen. And it did happen, but maybe it happened for a reason.
Well, it happened to put you right here, right now, doing exactly what you're doing.
Now. Yeah. Synchronicities.
Well, one of these times you'll say it correctly.
I'm fairly eloquent with my words and I can't say this one word.
No, I think that it's that gimmick from WWE. It's rubbing off on you.
Yeah. Handsome mute. And if I just
handsome meat, that wasn't that Sean Stasiak's gimmick.
Handsome mute.
Oh, mute.
Like I do to your podcast. Come on. But that sucked. I don't no, man. The thing too is after I went through that moment of I don't care. They won't, it doesn't matter. There was another re-sparking of it. Well, first off, I got a terrible concussion.
Yeah.
Because they called me up with a concussion for something, whatever. Long story short, my brain wasn't right. And that doesn't help your mental health at all, especially if you're miserable. So I was going through that, but it There was like, all right, now I'm not going to take no for an answer. I think it was like I came back from the concussion. I'm like, doesn't fucking matter. Like whatever comes down that pipe, I'm going to run with it, and they can fire me if they have to.
Right.
And nothing came. Not one. Like, I'll let them do something backstage real fast. Like, oh, it's live TV. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was committed to going all in. And then two, like what I hate about social media and wrestling and wrestlers is when they complain about their positioning on lines and blah, 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 and their booking and blah, blah, blah. Like people that like threatened or at the time asking for the release online and stuff like that because they wouldn't get it. I thought that was weak. That was a weak move. That's all. I don't know. Because like I thought about it every day. I'm like, but then I'm like, all right, now there's a pandemic. I can't do that because I have guaranteed money and people might not have jobs and my parents might need help and other families. So I have to stay here. Well, you fired me. Okay, good.
Do you still have goals in the wrestling world? Do you want to be a heavyweight champion somewhere?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to be Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. I want accolades. Though in the narrative, it's not about titles and things like that and or material possessions. I mean, in a sense, but I could be very happy creating something that will last is the biggest thing. Telling some of the best stories, and it might never happen with the biggest platform, but I've created my own. And that's very proud of being able to do that. And hopefully the recognition, not the recognition for my sake, but for everyone's sake that did it with me, and the recognition to fans of thinking outside the box. I don't care about me. I care about the people that trust me. And I care about me a little bit. I'm a narcissist. Let's be honest.
And the astrology babes, right?
Yeah. I love them. So easy to fool with my big vocab.
Yeah. Synchronicity.
There's always goals. I don't think there'll ever not be a goal. Yes, I'd like to be a heavyweight champion. My goal is to do something, not only create something that'll last, but do something completely different that bends the reality of what we do. And it takes takes the right team, takes the right people, takes the right big man with name value, takes the right companies, but everything that's been done's been done. Let's doing something different. That's the goal.
What are the goals in the gym? Because I don't feel like you can get in any more shape. Like you talk about being in the top 1%. I feel like your body fat is 1% right now.
Well, if you like fitness apps, join.freeec3.com. I have a nutrition and training app. I will say for a hunk like you, you're more advanced. You need more cement training, but join.freec3.com, #project narrative. Yeah, I'll sell you my bullshit. It's a nutrition and diets and workouts created by me for you. And I really gear it more towards beginners and intermediates more so than advanced, because for myself, what are my goals in the gym? Well, I did a bodybuilding show. I think that world's insane and weird, but I was like, let's do it. You never know what's going to happen. I don't know how to pose and I'm so broken down. It was hard. And I was in training for that, filming right into the narrative. So a week before I was on a bodybuilding stage, I'm having a 6'8" guy throw me against the wall and choke slam the shit out of me, throw me outside of a ring, like beat the ever living hell out of me. And I'm all dieted and water drained and like, I'm like, oh my God, everything hurts so bad. I would do it again because I actually had more fun than I thought, because I was mad after. I was like, I don't care, whatever. I'm like, wait, I should have won. I was the leanest guy there. I don't know how to pose. All right, now I have to win. And because bodybuilders are such a weird breed where what do they do all day? They sit around, they'll work out, they'll eat, they'll play video games, and then like, I don't know, smoke weed probably. Like, it's like, what a demented, and like talk about themselves on Instagram. I'm like, these demented narcissists is what I call it. Like, I just want to beat them because, okay, what did I do? Well, I worked out, I ate all my food. I didn't look at a video game. I didn't pick up a controller. I spent 12 hours writing and creating narratives and reading books and running this and helping out with that. And so-and-so needed it, like building giant empires of mental health and physical fitness and wellness. That's the narrative, man.
Mm.
Physical, mental, spiritual. Spiritual, I still have trouble with. Mental, I have trouble with. Physical, I look great, but I feel like shit.
Well, that's the double-edged sword of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You look amazing, but you don't feel good.
I'm actually, for the first time, trying to put on a little bulk, and I feel watery. I'm like, shut up, dude.
Like, my 8-pack is only a 7-pack.
Yeah. It's like, shut up. I hate the lifestyle, but I don't know why it's so ingrained in me.
Mm.
The pursuit of something better always intrigues me.
Yeah.
I got the physical down enough. If I was truly, here's the thing about hard work. Hard work is doing the stuff you don't want to do. So when somebody like very close to me is like, man, I'm a hard worker, and then spends the rest of their day laying on a couch. Like, no, you worked hard at the thing you like to do.
Yeah.
Going to the gym rules. Eating food rules. You worked hard at that. Hard work is doing the stuff you don't want to do. And one thing I don't want to do is take a day off, and I need to. But I can't like make myself, and I would benefit from it. I know it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, someone else. So yeah, what am I talking about?
Maybe it's time to take a day off.
It is
a rest day.
Well, I mean, like a full rest day. Like my day off is like, I'll go for a bike ride now.
I'll call it active recovery.
Yeah, I'll call it active recovery. And the next thing you know, I'm like doing stomach crunches in the park. I'm like, what's your sign, babe? I'm a Pisces, borderline Aries. So I'm a leader. Yeah, that's it. Stay lean, stay healthy.
That's it.
Stop hurting. But I do hurt. You mentioned people wrestling in their 40s and 50s. I'm like, fuck.
I don't know how they do it.
No. I remember I just went to Shinedown with Braun. We spent the day at the Olympia, and we're pushing our message, pushing stuff like that. Merch. It was like good branding for us because I love getting outside the bubble. Cool. Meet a lot of interesting people. But we go to see Shinedown, and we're walking back. We've been on our feet all day, and being a big man is very difficult. How I feel is horrible. And we're both like hobbling. Like I'm watching him walk and his right leg's dragging like he's a fucking pirate captain with a wooden leg. And my fucking foot hurts, and I'm just like hobbling. I'm like, look at us. People think we're in shape and we're healthy and we can barely walk in the car.
You need some mobility from the sounds of it.
I do. I need more yoga babes, which usually go in line with the astrology babes.
Maybe. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. It's Free the Narrative 2. The links are down below in the description. What else do we want to plug here?
Well, I mean, freeec3.com is my website. I never update, but if you go over to my wearable propaganda section, you'll find cool ass merchandise that they're printing in the back over there. You know, like this Handy 3 brand.
Literally doing it as we speak here. Yeah.
Literally, actually, they're making a giant supplement order. I wish I was selling that much merch.
Oh.
But like the thing about the narrative too.
No, they're printing shirts to the right of you. Or
yeah, it's a giant
behind you to the left. All right.
They're not my shirts. They're not EC3 shirts. Is what
I got you.
But like controlling your narrative, a big thing with Free the Narrative. Our music is original, made in house. Our merchandise is original, made in house. Like it was important to keep everything in integrity. It's a lot of work, but yeah, freeec3.com. Follow me, Instagram at the Real EC3. I think Facebook at the Real EC3. Twitter, I never use. What a cesspool of bad thoughts. Like it's just a horrible place. Twitter. Follow me there at the Real EC3. I usually just retweet and hashtag control your narrative at this point because the debates over there. No one wins.
A lot. Yeah.
Humanity is losing the battle every day. You look at that shit.
It's yelling into a vacuum. You know, it's just, yeah.
What else? Freethenarrative.com. We write blogs. We'll have our schedules. We have a lot of things we want to do. We want to take narrative showings and do them in theaters with meet and greets and then like Q&As after.
That's great.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right?
Yeah.
Figure out a way. I love the idea of this being live fights for people to watch. I don't know how to pull it off yet.
Yeah.
Like I don't want it to be a wrestling company. I have no aspirations of being, we're going to be the 4th or 5th brand. It's going to be, you're the control your narrative champion. No, I want to create a place. I want to create a safe space to not be safe. I want to create a place for talent to supplement their content and their careers in this world, in the wrestling world, by being who they want to be and taking it somewhere. I want somebody who gets fired to knock on my door and come out when the time is up, guns blazing, something completely different and who they envision themselves to be. I want people to fucking have fun.
Yeah.
Even though I don't.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
I want to create something that will last. And like you said, when you started the thing, before we started, I was like, let's start. I think we're ready.
Lives forever.
Yeah.
What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
I am grateful for the incredible people that have found themselves in my life.
Through these synchronicities?
Synchronicities. How you say? Yes.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, the people working behind me, like how they came to be in this shop at this moment. Yeah. From my friend JC, the narrator, to like his circle that my circle intertwines with, from all the friends I made through wrestling. Just, is it what I'm thankful for? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, what you're grateful for. Yeah.
Grateful for. I'm grateful for that circle. And I think I said it 5 times, but I'm grateful for the trust people put in me. Mm-hmm. Means to me more than they know. I am grateful, number 2, for just my aesthetics, man. I look fantastic. Like,
wow, we're cutting a promo in the grateful section.
My whole life's a promo. I broke up with a girl once, or she broke up with me. It doesn't matter. For the sake of the story, I broke with her, but in reality, she broke up with me. But I'm like talking to her, and I'm like, dude, like this, and she's like, "You're cutting a promo on me right now." My whole life's a promo. She's like, "I know, that's the problem." I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, not just the aesthetics, but being able to be comfortable and confident in who I am. It helps a lot. If you're having troubles and issues with that, take care of it. And this isn't for me to sell my app. Join.freeec3.com. Use promo code CYN weekly for 50% off. But no, in reality, you can find a lot through yourself through your physical manifestation. Because if you're confident in your own skin, you become confident in life. You become confident in the ability to say what you think, what you feel, you know, the tenets I speak of in the narrative. But through my physicality, I have found mental and spiritual things through seeking more information, like how many grams of protein should I have post-workout? Next thing, I'm in a rabbit hole of the word synchronicities, like reading some like really esoteric stuff. And then next thing you know, I'm researching Plato's the cave analogy because of this thing. And then I'm just in the rabbit hole of like information that makes me think outside of what I was seeking originally. So being thankful for my physicality means I'm thankful for my mental acuity and my spiritual awakening and all the yoga babes. Number 3. Okay. Here's something I just learned. I'm thankful for forgiveness. Not forgiving to make somebody even feel better or okay. I'm thankful for the ability to forgive somebody and then therefore free myself from my feelings that I hold on to and repress from a past.
Yeah, it's like you've forgiven yourself through that action.
Yes. And it's about when you forgive somebody, it's not about them. It's about you. Mm-hmm. So don't be afraid to. And nobody has gotten further of vengeance and spit and hatred and disdain and animosity and anger and vitriol and screaming and throwing shit around and rage, everything. And like, that took me very far. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
But as I realize now, one instance of forgiveness was a synchronicity that put me on an even better path. So it's okay. And that's not saying be soft and be a wuss, like an alpha dude that's like, I ain't forgiving nobody. It's so you can kick more ass.
Yeah.
Because if that apprehension's not hanging over your head, you can kick way more ass with a clear mind.
I heard a great quote. It was, not forgiving someone else is like drinking poison and hoping that it affects them.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I don't know why it made me think of The Princess Bride with Carrie Elwes doing the old switcheroo and they drink the poison. But
what a way to end this. This was so in depth. This might be one of my favorite conversations that I've ever had.
Stop it. Really?
Seriously.
Oh.
Because a lot, we talked a little bit about wrestling, but we talked so much about life. And there's so much during this conversation that's going to speak directly to somebody who's struggling with something.
Yeah, I agree. And everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does, different levels. What I've been through, there's no way it's even in the top 1% of what other people go through. Yeah. So we all fight our own battles. Like, I don't need to glamorize mine because everybody does it, but just know that there are people that everyone does it, and talking about it helps. And never be afraid. Never be afraid too, because let me sell my shit to you one last time. The pillars of control your narrative are control. You take back control. Freedom. You fight for freedom, the freedom to act, the freedom to think, the freedom to speak, the freedom to feel. And through that all, you find purpose. So we're all on the path, hopefully.
Yeah. What a way to end it.
Woo.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, brother. This is what happened to the narrative, like a full-blown therapeutic breakdown of people. So watch it on YouTube because it's like an art piece and we're really proud of it.